Hey guys, so this video is a clip from episode 24 of my Idiots on the Airwaves podcast that I do with fellow YouTuber and good friend AdventureKarma. I asked him to review Solar guitars, body types and colors, but specifically the body types, just to get the perspective of a non-guitar player and frankly a non-musician. And this is the result of 20 minutes of deliberating over what he thought his favorite shape was, which shape would look good on me, or in general amongst guitar players, and how he perceives these instrument shapes to translate into different modes of musicality, whether that be performing or recording or both. So, hope you enjoy.
Okay, I need your opinion as an absolute normie on, like, just guitar designs. Like, you don't know a bloody thing about it, right? So, I am on Solar Guitar's website, and these are the types of guitars that they have. They have a big summer sale and stuff. So, they have the new Made in Europe series. That's not important. So, here are all the primary shapes, and I want to know what you think of them just purely off of your supreme lack of knowledge on how guitars look or what you would think they would sound like or what kind of people would play them. Because Solar Guitars is a company that's basically for metal musicians.
Just the shape?
Yeah, I just need you to review shapes and like what kind of music you would think of when you see this. Because even though this company just makes metal guitars, basically, so all of the shapes for one way or another are metalified in some way. I want to know what you think of it. So there's...
Okay, well, these ones, these are giving me maybe a more generic vibe. Like, I can imagine teenagers in their garage out with, like, these little blob guys. Honestly, what it really looks like is there's, like, a little blob guy who's holding up his arms, like, begging for help. I know it's supposed to look like horns, but all I can see is a little blob guy screaming.
So these are the Type A's, which are just regular scale length guitars. Scale length is basically the distance between the nut, which is up here where the headstock begins, to the bridge. It's a string tension thing, and it enables you to do other stuff with it. AB, if I remember correctly, is just the A-type body, but with a baritone scale length, which means the neck is longer, so you have to tune down lower, because it's specifically built for lower tunings.
Yeah.
Hey, so editing Daniel here. The B in AB does not stand for baritone. It stands for bolt-on neck. So I apologize to Ola in particular for this very ridiculous slip-up that I had. You can tell on the back of every AB model there are 5 bolts on the neck, and the standard A types, I believe, are set neck. If they were neck through, they would be differently specified. I'm fairly certain that standard A types are set neck. So, yeah, sorry about that. Back to the video.
These ones look more serious. They still got kind of that blobby shape, but these ones are something that I would like see on stage and be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, and then there's these, the E types, which are based after like Explorers and Z's and all that. So these are the pointy ones. This is where metal gets like really crazy.
These ones would be what I would say are more. If I had to guess, I would say they're more modern. They look like the old like Star ones, but simplified and not as goofy looking. It's like
they're made after. Everybody has their every guitar company has a guitar that's a ripoff of this shape, this Gibson Explorer and the Flying V, which I know you've seen the Flying V before.
Yeah.
Because you know my videos and all this stuff. So that's the Type E. And then this is the G, which is basically the Les Paul, which is...
The G looks like...
Just looks like this.
Yeah, I was going to say, G looks like what am I thinking? Acoustic guitar trying to pretend it's metal.
It does attempt to pretend pretty hard.
Yeah, that's what
Not gonna
these
lie.
look like. These just look like they're pretending to be metal guitars, or ones that are very uncomfortable at the genre they're being used in, and want to pretend like you could also use them to, you know, like sit on your porch and sing country songs. That's the vibe I'm getting.
You could use this one for a country song. Just use a Solar guitar for a country song.
Yeah, plug in an amp and start playing country songs.
And then these are the Type S's, which are different than the A types.
Okay, these ones look very middle.
They're a bit more of the elite type of guitars.
Really, these ones are giving much more generic vibes to me. They don't look as goofy blob man.
Interesting. Yeah, because these are the budget model A's, and this is like the budget model S, and it's...
These ones
look more generic?
Yeah, I would say. They look more like just something I would see somebody having. I think it's really because I accidentally saw like the little blob man, because these ones are a bit longer, so they don't look like it. If I hadn't seen it as a little blob man, my opinions would have probably changed, but...
So, like, a very brief education is that all curvy guitar shapes come from this guitar. It's a Fender Stratocaster, and so then comes the term Super Strat, which is not how you spell it, but it's basically every guitar company has their own version of this. You've got Jackson Soloists and Dinkies. You've got what's more notably Steve Vai's Gem guitar, which is just a Strat but pointed, and he's got the monkey bar handle.
See, that's what I'm saying.
So,
it seems like those guitars are the ones that, like, maybe I wouldn't see people playing, but it's like if I went to somewhere that sold guitars, like, I would expect to see those.
Oh yeah, this is like the most common shape you would see in a guitar store.
That's what I think when I think those type of guitars. It'd be these guys.
Yeah, because even the like most bass guitars are that. Like you've got the Type AB basses, and most bass guitars are curvy. They're actually, but they are purposely made to have their contours changed from the guitar. So like if you look at a bass as opposed to a guitar, it just looks different. Like somehow, maybe it's because the neck is way longer, because it is. So this is what the basses look like. Still seeing the blob man?
Yeah, it's less now, but yeah, I am.
And then this is the SB. Again, not much to say on the SBs. I wish he should release more SBs. Anyways, these are the T types, which are basically
these ones look... I can't say I've ever seen these before, but these I think I would see at like a rockin' concert. Alright?
Because this was the guitar Ola used for his Bluesy McBluesface song, which is just a blues song, if the title didn't give it away. And so they're all T types from any other company are based after this Telecaster, which is an inferior version of the Stratocaster, because it's missing a pickup.
So T types to me look like the type of tool that like someone who's really good at says that this is like a really good one, but it's not very popular. That's the vibe I'm getting. Like someone who's skilled at it will be like, yeah, that's a really good, like maybe a starter or just an all-around good guitar, but they're overlooked because other ones look cooler.
Yes,
like
that's a very observant take, actually.
That's just the vibe I'm getting from the shape. It's the not popular among the fan base, but among those serious about it would say that it's solid.
It's funny you say that too, because when I went to NAMM and visited the Solar Guitar booth, I got to play this guitar, and so I had always disliked the look of this. So I was wondering how it was going to feel when I actually played it. And it felt exactly how you described. It's very, it doesn't, how did you say it?
It doesn't blow you away, but it's quite mechanically good.
Yes, exactly. It's very good in that regard. And which other ones did I play? I got to play, where's the 7-string version of this? Here we are. I played this one. I think somebody bought this one straight from the booth, actually. 7-string, purple with a roasted maple fretboard. Amazing instrument. And then there was this one that I only saw day one. It's a signature guitar of some artist, but I didn't see it day 2. Somebody bought it immediately. And so I didn't see any of those, sadly, because I wanted to play the G type so badly. Saw one of the basses there. I saw this bass. Somebody else was playing this one, but I never got to touch it. So I played this one, and yeah, it's very mechanically good, though I think it it didn't feel awkward to play because you have this scoop on the outside where your arm can rest more naturally and not just lay on a corner and pinch the nerve.
Yeah.
But it's just the shape. It's like, for me, I would prefer a different shape.
Yeah.
Enter the Type V.
Okay, Type V. These look like... I guess the best way to describe it was hair metal. This feels like a much more... like retro, like 80s vibe. It's something that like is cool for the time, and we still kind of look back on nostalgic, and it's kind of like, yeah, we get that like we can get why it looks cool, but like if anybody was seriously out there with that being like, oh yeah, I'm the coolest kid on the block, it would be like, that's kind of goofy though.
True.
That's how I feel about these. It's
These
retro
are
cool, not a...
Right. It's funny you say that because I always thought that this was what hair metal looked like, because a lot of hair metal guitarists would use Gibson Explorers and Flying Vs because at the time this was the most modern looking shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then for metal, you had the Rhodes Vs and the King Vs from Jackson, which were the pointy ones, and that actually gave off the presence of way heavier than just hair metal. So these to me give off a similar vibe, and I actually played this one as well in this camouflage splatter type. It's really good. So it's very funny you say that they just look hair metal and very poser-ish, would you say? Because like coolest kid on the block, it's like...
Yeah, I would say if somebody who is unironically using it now and trying to like portray themselves as, you know, like cool with it, you know, like it's kind of posers. So it's like, well, no, you should have chose something that looks like it wasn't dug out of a trash can from the...
What, like this? Like this one, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that one gives... No, the E-types, I would say, are more of a modern equivalent of that. They just give off a more modern feel.
So, like, which one so far do you think, like, looks the most professional? Like, was it, like, G-type, or the T, or the E, or...
I want to say the E, but honestly, it would probably be one of the, what's Tall Blob Man? Which one was that one?
The longer neck one? The ABs?
Yeah. I would say that those... Again, when you say professional, I would just expect to see those in the hands of a professional.
Okay, because this is the AB 1.7, so it's a 7-string.
But
here's,
but again,
here's a 6-string one and a nice tritone burst.
Right, but again, I think the one like with the curve and stuff would be something that, like, if I had to guess, like, I would say that a professional has that, but I would also say that I think that would look a bit odd with my perception of, you know, the types of guitars, like, you know, rock and metal people use. I would say that looks like a very un-rock or metal guitar, but it also looks like the most mechanically sound.
So, like, for recording, it would be this one, whereas performing, it would be this one.
I think performing, you'd want to go for a much flashier one.
This or this one for performances, but for recording, it would be this one or even this one.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I see that line of thought. And then, of course, we have the brand new type that Ola put out a couple months ago, which is the X type, where he crosses the V and the E together and slants the V out so it sits better in a classical guitar position.
I would actually say I think those are the best looking so far. They don't quite get to the goofiness of the V. I really think that the V is just kind of goofy because it also kind of looks like you're trying to stab someone, because there's just like so much wasted space that it gets to a point that it's like, okay, but what's...
Well, you mean all this?
Yeah, it's like, what's going on there?
Well, it would look bad if it was just a triangle.
Right, I agree, but it just looks uncomfortable. Like, I think the V shape just makes it look like it was designed to look good on stage. Like look at the man on the left.
This guy.
The guy on the left does not look like he's comfortable. Like, his hands do not look like they're very comfortable playing that. It looks a bit odd.
I mean, it can be. The main purpose of the V shape to begin with is to kind of do it like this, where you stick it in your leg as a grounding mechanism, and it works really well. Because my friend has a Jackson King V, and he often grounds the guitar between his legs for stability when playing, and it works out really well because unlike this shape, like kind of the E-type shape, This one is only ergonomic when you're sitting. For this one, it's very much more a standing-only guitar, because if you sit with this, it's going to just shoot up to the sky.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Which is kind of why the Rhodes V was made when Randy Rhodes was still alive, because it's based off of the Concorde, but then you spike the shape a bit more, because this is the one I have, and it kind of just sits better, as opposed to, say, I can't find the right image. It just kind of, it looks better, because it moves with your leg better, and you can sit with it. You can actually ground it in a different way, and it doesn't just shoot up to the sky. So, from that sense, I can kind of see what you're talking about there.
Yeah. But I
actually, this X-Type, you think is the best looking one?
I think it strikes the balance. If maybe not for, like... It still looks somewhat impractical, but again, that might just come from my lack of knowledge of music. But I think when you compare it to, like, something on stage, like, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that looks cool. And again, I think it will become dated. I think eventually it will become, you know, like, kind of a goofy V shape where it's a bit like, all right, I don't know where we went there. But I think, yeah, it strikes the balance. I don't think it's as protruding as the V shape. Like, it doesn't seem like it should have ended long ago. And it's not quite... It's more distinguishable as an actual shape than the E. So I like it more. One? Yeah, and I think the X looks a little bit more chaotic. I think that's kind of where the E kind of loses some of its metal feel. Is that
it's because it looks very sterilized compared to the V and the E?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Sorry, just the X.
That more chaotic energy. It doesn't seem like it would go as hard as the V or the X.
That's true. This one, though, I think this is like the flashiest one you could get because of the color.
It also, this is entirely because of me. It also is kind. The E kind of reminds me of. Where is he? 1 second.
This is probably the best looking one you can get. Is the slime burst finish. Because the V also comes in this color as well, and so he made a V and E type that look like this, and I can't honestly tell which one looks better, but this is basically the flashiest the E gets to look.
I think
so far.
Gave me perhaps the worst color for it, because what I just sent you is that the E, the yellow E, I can only see this.
What is this from?
That's from Homestar Runner.
Oh, why I put that visual in your head?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Oh my gosh. Fix your perspective with this one, the Jensen Mark II.
Okay, that one looks cool. Okay, the color... Again, if we're just going off shape, it's different than the color. I think for the E's, if you give it a bit of a more chaotic or gradient color scheme, it gets back a lot of what it loses. But when it's just a solid color, it just feels very... It feels very modern, I guess, in the sense that it just seems kind of sterile and it's just kind of there.
And it's different from what we call the natural finish, where you can see the wood. And natural finishes can come in matte and distressed, where it's smoothed out, or like what my Rhodes V is, where you can feel the grain of wood and it's not actually finished at all, which is what I prefer. Or you can gloss over the natural finish, and to that, I just say, why not paint it if you're just going to gloss over the wood and not let me feel any of it? But this also gives off a completely, like, from an artistic standpoint, with the aged metal-looking pickguard, because that's what this is called, a pickguard, and the natural-looking finish of it all, what do you reckon of just the aging look of this guitar?
As I said, I think that can also go into a lot of it thinking it's more for professionals who know what they're doing, but it's not very flashy. I think that just adds to the, it's like the old... It's the old reliable. You know, it's not what you're going on stage with. But if you want to pick up something solid,
that's what this shape always was for guitar players for the longest time, because the Les Paul guitar shape is one of the most recognizable and it's one of the most popular. So Solar Guitars has its take on it and modernizes it a ton, and it looks like, if I pull up the natural look on this one, this doesn't give me the same old reliable feel as the T-Type. That's very interesting. And I also, going back to the X, I actually got to play this guitar a lot at the Solar booth at NAMM. It felt incredibly balanced, which surprised me because I thought either it was going to like be too heavy one way or the other. But the point that sticks out all the way out here, it didn't actually irritate me at all. And it sits really well too. So like, does this one have the playing? No, it doesn't. Where is it? I don't remember. Solar X-Type. The introduction of the X-Type came with the Made in Europe series. X-Type. That's kind of what it is. This one, yeah. This man with the... Oh, why is the ad popping up? It's not even... I have ad block, for goodness sakes. Now you guys can see my recommendation list. So it looks like this when you stand and play it. And it's like, I don't know, I didn't think the point stuck out too much at all. But overall, as a guitar player, the V was like perfectly balanced.
Okay, I can see that. Again, that's just one of the things I think, just from a very outside perspective. It's just look.
No, it's good perspective to have. I like it. And then there's this one he released last week alongside the release of his new song. The body is satin black, which means that it's smoothed out, but he put his logo inside of it, and the logo is gloss black.
See, this is what I was saying about the colors and like how it can affect stuff, because I think on any other guitar, this would give it a very modern feel. But because the shape still maintains a bit of chaos, it still looks like, it would rock pretty hard. Like, that's what I'm saying about the X shape, is it feels like no matter what colors you put on it, it maintains that amount of chaos.
So if we compare the X to like the A-B types that you said you really liked, we have this one, which is an open pore guitar. So it's made of a certain type of wood where you can stain it and you can feel the grain alongside of it. And there's this shape, and then there's the chaotic X shape where you got natural here. You got actually got an open pore in red right here. So that's cool. So that's cool. It's cool to hear a non-guitar player's perspective of all this, Because, like, I've always wondered how people reckon about, like, all this guitar stuff that I know about. It's just, like, I don't know. I don't ever get the chance to really, like, nerd out about it because it's, like, because nobody knows what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to think, like, okay, but how do other people think about this? And, like, because if I was to get one of these guitars, like, how would you see it fit on me as opposed to how I see it fit on me, So it's like, which type do you reckon would fit best on me if you had to choose?
Probably. Okay, so initially my first thought was the X, but I don't think so. It feels more rock star than you feel, if that makes sense. It feels like a performance guitar, even if it's not. It feels like something that you're doing, to put on a show. Not bad, but it seems a lot more like, it's flashy. So I would go with the other one. Sorry, the names are predicting, but like Blob Man. I think that would fit you. I think it's more controlled. It's still like, I think the horns, even though I see a Blob Man, I think they're distinctly metal, which goes with you. Like, it's distinct, but it's also not, like, all over the place. And it doesn't look like you're trying to put on a show.